Hey, it's Zane. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in once again. And in today's video, I want to talk about why, if you haven't already started allocating to Bitcoin in any meaningful way, why you have to get to 0.1. 0.1, 10% of a Bitcoin, which equals 10 million sats or satoshis. We have to understand there's 100 million derivatives or satoshis of a whole Bitcoin. And so when you invest and acquire 10% of a Bitcoin, you're acquiring 10 million satoshis. And I want to explain why that is so important in today's video. But I really believe that anybody now who can hustle their way to at least 0.1 of a Bitcoin, you're going to set yourself up in the years ahead for total financial independence. I really believe that. And I'm not the only one saying this. We know that there are a lot of smart minds in Bitcoin who understand what this protocol is and how it is essentially going to eat every other asset class on Earth. It's already doing it. It's just that most people aren't paying attention to it. It's certainly not spoken about in the media. But if you're paying attention to what Bitcoin is doing, it is actually repricing every other asset, every good and service, every product. If you price something in Bitcoin from 5 years ago and then you price it today, you will notice how far the price of that particular item has fallen when priced in Satoshis or Bitcoin. And I believe that we're going to come to a point in the not too distant future where things are going to be priced in sats, in satoshis. You're going to be able to go down the street and order a coffee and it's going to be 5 sats or 10 sats. And this is what's coming. And so we have to understand that Bitcoin is a new monetary protocol whose time has come. And people are starting to realize that having all of their life parked in this debt-based fiat system, and the word fiat means by decree, it basically means we have a monetary system that is backed by nothing. It is backed by faith and trust that we have in the central bank and the government, but that is it. It's not backed by anything tangible. And when you have a monetary system that is built that way, which can be debased constantly, meaning that you and I have no say in the monetary supply. In other words, if we're storing our value in dollars, we are at the whim of the central bank in terms of the issuance of currency. And so they are constantly diluting our life savings, our purchasing power, our inherent economic value. Bitcoin is a place to store your economic energy and value that cannot be debased. It cannot be printed. They cannot change the rules on you. So why would you go and spend your life working and saving in a currency that is constantly being diluted? And this is the reason why, the real reason why we have a cost of living crisis now. This is why everything since 2020 has been accelerated, because the money printer has been turned on at an unprecedented rate. They've essentially doubled the currency in 5 years. And this is the reason why people who own desirable real estate, for example, their wealth has gone up exponentially and everybody else has been essentially left behind. And so this situation is not going to stop. Our retirement accounts are at risk. There's many attack vectors that are potentially on the horizon with those. We know that governments around the world, they're not collecting enough in taxation to fund their spending programs and all of the handouts and the promises that they give to basically convince voters to vote for them. Where's all this money coming from? The only place it's coming from is through access to the big red button, the money printer. And if you want to protect yourself from this, you have to be in an asset that cannot be printed, that cannot be debased. And the best asset of all that fits this property or this category is Bitcoin. because it is absolutely scarce. There is only 21 million Bitcoin. It's a protocol that cannot be changed by anyone. It's not owned by anyone. It's not controlled by anyone. And so the fact that it is decentralized and an open, permissionless protocol, it basically means that anybody can join the network and store their value in it without permission from anybody. And so this is why I say, if you can get to 0.1 of a Bitcoin, you're going to front run the mass adoption, not just from governments, nation states and institutions who are already acquiring massive pools of Bitcoin, or they're allocating massive pools of capital to acquire as much Bitcoin as they possibly can, because they understand that it is the best asset to put on their balance sheet in their treasuries. And so you need to be thinking as the master or the captain of your own central bank. You are the head of security of your own financial life. And Bitcoin gives you the opportunity to do that, but you have to take action. You really cannot just sit on the sidelines and hope that the price is going to drop, or I've missed the boat, or I should have done this 5 years ago when my friend Jack down the street told me about it and I didn't really listen to him because I wasn't paying attention. There's still time to do this. I believe that anybody who puts their mind to this can get themselves to 0.1 of a Bitcoin in a relatively short space of time. 0.1 of a Bitcoin today is going to be an investment of around about 10,000 US dollars. I realize that's a fair chunk of change, particularly when people are pinned to the wall and squeezed financially on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. I do get that. But we're talking about your financial future. And tell me an asset that you can be in where you can invest 10,000 US dollars, which is about 15,000 Australian dollars. Tell me an asset that you can be in that is going to outperform Bitcoin and allow you to also be completely decentralized and portable with your wealth. And I've said this a number of times in these videos in recent times. If you're not tuned in or having in your favorites the Kager calculator, the reverse Kager calculator, you need to put that into Google. In fact, I've now started to incorporate the link, because many people have been asking me for it, in my show notes. So if you go to my show notes, you'll see the link to the reverse Kager calculator, and it asked for 3 fields, 3 simple fields. It wants to know how much capital you're putting in right now, what the Kager is that you're targeting, and it gives you what the outcome's going to be in 10 or 15 years. So you can put the years, 10 or 15 or 20 years, whatever it might be. And so if you put $10,000, being 0.1 of a Bitcoin, in the top line, and then you put 50% for the Kager, and we know that Bitcoin has been performing at 55 to 60% for the past decade. So put 50% in, and then on the bottom line, if you put 15 years, what you'll see is that in 15 years, the result of $10,000 at 50% Kager in 15 years is 4.3 something million US dollars, which is about 6.5, 7 million Australian dollars. And so, you know, if you can get to 0.1, if you're not there already, and if you are there already, then encourage as many of your family as you possibly can who will listen to you to get to 0.1 as quickly as they can, because you want them on the life raft with you. You don't want to be on the life raft on your own in your family. You want to have as many of your family members that you care about and love on this life raft with you. You're going to be set for life. And the reason I say that is because you're going to have so many options when you get 15 years down the track, and it may be 10 years. But let's just say 15 years. And the reason I like 15 years is because, number one, I'm 52. I plan on certainly retiring within 15 years. But most people I talk to in my one-on-one consultations and calls that I do, they're typically in their late 40s, early 50s. And the retirement age, generally speaking, is mid-60s. In this country, it's actually 65. And so most of us have a time horizon that is in that 10 to 15 year window. And so, when we're thinking about retirement and setting ourselves up for life, and, you know, considering Bitcoin as a retirement plan B, which I believe everybody should be considering given where everything is going in terms of economic uncertainty and the control system becoming more challenging for people to have their financial lives tied to it 100%. So we have to be really mindful of what's going on and at least diversify, at least hedge against all of this stuff that is going on that you and I can't control. Bitcoin brings certainty to a world of chaos. Bitcoin, you know exactly what the issuance is going to be. You know exactly what the supply is going to be. We know how much Bitcoin is being mined every 10 minutes. It's a certain protocol. It delivers absolute certainty. And this is why it is deflationary. This is why when you start pricing things in Bitcoin and parking your economic life in Bitcoin, over time you notice that life only gets better because the price of everything around you goes down, not up. And this is a really difficult thing for many people to get because we've grown up in this inflationary environment because we've had a manipulated currency for 50 odd years now, since 1971 when the gold standard was severed. And so we don't know anything else. This is all we know. We only know the price of everything going up. And they lead us to believe that 3-4% inflation is a normal figure that is required for a country to sustain economic growth. But it's actually a lie. It's actually a lie. And if you understand a little bit about Austrian economics, you begin to realize that it's a complete lie. And so, Bitcoin is the world's first true global free market. In the words of the great Jeff Booth, the first global true free market. We have never seen a true free market. A true free market is one where there is entrepreneurship, there is economies of scale, there is progress, there is competition. And through all of those attributes or features, what happens over time is that things actually fall to the marginal cost of production. Things fall to their cost of production plus nominal profit margin. But what we're seeing instead is the price of everything being inflated, not just because supermarkets are greedy, like they lead us to believe, but because currency is being destroyed, and in order to sustain a profitable business, prices have to go up. And so this is the situation we're in right now. So Bitcoin is the life raft. It gives you the protection. It gives you the opt-out. It gives you the retirement plan B, the optionality to grow and expand your horizons and to think differently to 95% of the population who have no idea how this control system is pigeonholing them and their kids for the future. Bitcoin is the solution. It's much more than just money. This is about your entire life and freedom and sovereignty and being in control. And as we head towards retirement age, I'm not sure about you, but for me, I want to know with certainty that if I'm parking my economic value and energy into a protocol or into a system, I want to know that the system is not going to change the rules on me. Because when we get to our 50s and 60s, there's no time to rebuild if things go bad. If all of a sudden, everything turns on us, the situation is flipped on its head, everything that we've worked for to create could be gone. And, we've seen it happen before. And I talk often about a gentleman by the name of Tony Yazbek, who's the founder of the Bitcoin Way. And, he's got a really compelling story about, he was caught up in the Lebanese banking crisis of 2019, not that long ago. And he was retired, set for life, enjoying himself. One day he woke up, banks had closed, couldn't access his money. People lost their life savings, they never got them back. And that was the impetus for Tony to go and start the Bitcoin Way. It took him, I believe, about 12 months to come out of a deep, dark hole that he was in and trying to figure out how he was going to rebuild And then he realized that Bitcoin was the solution, and now he's out there educating people on why they have to have a hedge against this control system that we're in. So get to 0.1. I want to wrap this video up today. I could talk about all sorts of numbers and what this could mean, but I think you understand that, you know, if you can have a meaningful allocation to Bitcoin, it can not only set you up for life financially in the next 10 to 15 years, but also you can be the master of your own destiny. You can become self-sovereign. You can be the CEO of your own central bank if you do things right. Because at the end of the day, there's only really three things for you and I to worry about. And if you believe in Bitcoin and what it's about, and you understand where this is going, and the trajectory that Bitcoin is on, and the adoption curve, and the fact that this is at the very beginning, then your only three jobs are, number one, to stack sats as hard as you possibly can, stack satoshis. And if you can't do 0.1, do 0.01, okay, which will cost you about $1,000 US. Whatever it is that you can do where you're at, just do something. Just do something. Learn how to self-custody your Bitcoin in the right way, and then, you know, you'll sleep well at night. It's so important that you don't leave your Bitcoin on an exchange or with a brokerage for a short space of time. It's okay, but you want to move as quickly as you can to be in control of your Bitcoin through the right self-custody setup. So again, stack, hold or hodl, as we say in Bitcoin, hold on for dear life, and do not get shaken out, and make sure that you are definitely deploying the right self-custody setup. If I can help you in any way, please book a one-on-one call with me. I have them every week. I can answer any questions you've got, point you in the right direction, give you the guidance you need in whatever area you need in your Bitcoin journey. I'll never ask you how much Bitcoin you have, how much you're looking to invest. I'm not worried about that. I simply want to ensure that you do the right things, don't make any mistakes, and get started in the right way. Other than that, please leave your comments about today's video. What do you think? Do you think 0.1 is enough as a starting point to get you to retirement within the next 10 to 15 years? And what do you think about self-sovereignty and the fact that Bitcoin is the only decentralized asset that you absolutely control? Share your comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you have a great day. This is Zane signing out. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.